Hi there. This week we'll be talking about culture and perspective. I want to start by getting us all on the same page with the definition of diversity. Diversity is any difference that makes a difference. So this means that diversity, we can all be diverse. It means that what is different or diverse is going to vary based on the situation and is going to vary based on the organization. And it also means that we can acknowledge all differences, not just those which maybe we are more familiar with. In order to understand diversity, we first need to talk about culture. Culture is what's, quote, normal in a social community. So these are shared expectations for how people should act toward each other, shared expectations for values. There's two elements of culture, objective culture and subjective culture. Objective culture include those things that we normally think of when we think of culture. These things are easier to see than others. So objective culture is dance, differences in food, differences in holidays, differences in styles of dress. On the other hand, subjective culture is harder to see. These are values, beliefs, and perceptions that guide individual and group activity. For instance, in the United States, we are living in a very individualistic culture. This is compared to collectivist cultures, for example, in China. An individualistic culture sets expectations and values individual decision-making and action. So, for example, if an individual raised in the American style of culture were to make a decision on where to go to college or what job to take, they might seek input from from their family or from their friends, but in the end, it is acceptable for individuals to make decisions that they think are right for them. On the other hand, in collectivist cultures, there's an expectation that those values and opinions of close family members will be the ones that are acted upon. It is much less common for an individual to make a decision on their own that is in contrast to what their family would like them to do. Individualistic cultures and collectivist cultures are not, one is not better than the other. They just depict differences in values and behavioral expectations. I also want to note that there's diversity within cultures. So when I talk about American culture or French culture, these are values that are generally shared within a culture. However, just because someone is French doesn't necessarily mean that they have the same interpretations and behavior patterns of all French people. Just like not all Americans have the same interpretations and behavior patterns as other Americans. However, it is accurate to say that people who grow up in French culture or American culture have a tendency to structure their behavior and interpretations in a more French way or in a more American way. So in your groups, you're going to discuss a few objects and what is similar between those objects and the idea of culture. We'll also talk about what insight this gives us about how to work effectively across cultures. And I really want to encourage you guys to be creative as you consider these different objects and how they are a metaphor for culture. I'm excited to see your interpretations.